From the kitchen to the science labs, hundreds of Year 5 and 6s got a taste of what awaits at THS last week at the open evening.
I'd like to use this opportunity to thank my staff and the students who have put tonight on, because without them, actually, we wouldn't be showing Tiverton High School off in its true colours.
More primary school students from across the community headed down on Friday for the More Able and Talented workshops, taking part in English, Maths and PE. BBC scientist and geographer Professor Ian Stewart gave a talk to Year 10 geology students last week. They were at Braunton Academy on Friday evening for the event.
Hello, and today's the day we are flying off to Papua New Guinea. I've got everything I need in my big rucksack, and for 5 weeks we're going to be trekking around, travelling to different villages, sleeping where we can. So I've got my roll mat, I've got my sleeping bag, I've got my mosquito net and everything I'm going to need. And then for the final 4 weeks we'll be on the boat and it'll be a little bit more civilised. So I'm leaving behind all my creature comforts and even my phone, so I won't be able to communicate all that well. If I get internet, I'll email Mr. Barlow and let you know how I'm getting on. Anyway, see you in 9 weeks. Bye!
Your views are once again being heard by the THS senior leadership team, thanks to a meeting in which the head boy and head girl attended.
Hello, we've just come out of our SLT meeting and we've shared our views and your views from your tutors through to your council meetings and into the Senate.
We'll be feedbacking soon and hopefully to see many of your ideas going forward and paying off.
And finally, surf's up in North Devon as the Surf Club headed out in style this week.
We'll just speak briefly about this to Tom Williams, who's the assistant head of Tiverton High School and joins me now. Tom, hello. What do you think about Shakespearean characters as role models?
Well, I think it's a very interesting discussion. I think one of the things we need to remember is obviously in the 16th century, there was a very different audience. Indeed, the female characters would have been portrayed by males on stage, which would have obviously created a very different dynamic when it comes to them being described as strong female characters. The audience would have seen them as men dressed as ladies in this patriarchal society. So I think it's very difficult to say they would be good role models in the 21st century and making that comparison to modern day.
What would you say about the kids in your school and the girls in your school? Who do you think their role models are? Is it along the lines of Kim Kardashian, Taylor Swift, pop stars and reality stars?
Well, it's interesting. Last year, Future Leaders, which is a leadership charity, did a survey with 6,000 students asking them who inspired them. And for the females, the most popular female figure was actually Malala Yousafzai.
Yes.
Absolutely. And 66% of the students questioned said that it was with their family, and 34% of these students said it's actually their mothers in the home. And for us as a school, we work very closely in partnership, as all schools do, with home. Because for us, actually, the most important people and the role models for these young people is who they associate with within their family, be it uncles, aunties, older brothers, siblings. But it's actually those people in the home that they aspire to be like and are inspired by.
Malala's a terrific one, isn't she? Are there any other that spring to your mind that you would be happy to see kids emulating and looking up to in this day and age?
Well, one of the things that we do here is we work in partnership with a charity called Future First, which is a charity that actually gets secondary schools and primary schools in touch with their ex-students. So it's an alumni network. And we actually bring in a whole range of school leavers so they can be role models for our young people. And it gives
real-life role models, fantastic.
Absolutely. It's actually giving them life to career role models, people like them. And I think it's really important that anybody in any walk of life has a story to tell. And it's about inspiring our young people, making them see that all walks of life, there are lessons to be learned. So, yes, we've got the media creating newsworthy celebrities, and obviously social media stokes that fire. But actually, I think it's people closer to home. It's people within the local community, the role models actually that they can be in touch with on a day-to-day basis that's important. And we shouldn't lose sight of that. It's very well to put on a pedestal these public newsworthy figures. But actually, if you go down and look and talk to individual students, it's people far closer to home that inspire them and that they aspire to be.
Tom, I'm going to catch you on the hop now and say, when you were growing up, can you remember the sorts of role models you had?
Quite embarrassing. I mean, a lot of my role models were celebrities. And I think it's interesting when we get older that we might throw scorn upon that. But actually, it's what do young people see on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
So yes, they see people in the home, but they also see those people who might emulate certain character traits that they think would make them popular. And at the end of the day, no matter who we are, we want to be liked and we want to be likable. And actually, I think that's an important lesson. And we shouldn't forget, actually, what we saw as role models growing up.
You've wriggled out of that. Come on, tell me one or two.
Okay, it was probably Timmy Mallett and Robbie Williams.
Timmy Mallett and Robbie Williams. What a cracking
he
pair.
Influenced me growing up. They both influenced me growing up. And but ultimately, it was closer to home. It was my teachers and it was my family around me. And they made me the person I am today. And without them, I wouldn't be where I am.
Timmy Mallett's a great one because just for being funny, I suppose.
Absolutely.
And likeable, as you said.
Yeah. And those skills in terms of becoming, developing your character, that sociability, the ability to communicate, the ability to make people laugh and make people listen to you. That level of influence is what makes, great leaders, be it a leader in the family, be it a leader in the work, or like we talked about earlier with Malala Yousafzai, a leader on a global stage. They make people want to listen to them. Therefore, they inspire people. And I think, apart from his fantastic shorts, that is something that actually made me think I want to be like Timmy Mallett.
Tom, wonderful stuff. Thank you so much for being with us today.
No problem
Great to
at
hear
all.
from you. That's Tom Williams, Assistant Head of Tiverton High School.